Yesterday we met with a group that certainly does not receive the attention that is due to their situation. I'm talking specifically about the Jewish refugees, the Israeli refugees, the displaced people. Yesterday we traveled to two hotels in the Dead Sea region. Typically, these hotels are resorts. These are hotels that are visited by thousands and thousands and thousands of tourists during the course of the year for an enjoyable time and a rejuvenating time. That is not what the majority of these hotels are now doing. Right now, they are hosting displaced families, the ones that we went to, displaced families specifically from the south. The first place that we went, just to understand, when we contrast displaced people in Gaza to displaced people in Israel, the media doesn't see equivalency in any way whatsoever. The media sees the displaced Gazans as terribly suffering, and they are. No one's going to diminish that because it's a reality. But what they don't understand is the Israelis are suffering tremendously. And I'll give you an example of what we saw. What happened was, you have to understand that the Dead Sea area is not really inhabited aside from that particular area by resorts. There really aren't any towns. There's a town nearby about 20, 25 minutes away. So there are no schools in the immediate vicinity of these hotels. So a rabbi who works, a Chabad rabbi, Rabbi El-Harar, who works in the Dead Sea region, comes into the hotel one day, and he sees, without exaggeration, 1,500 children milling about in the lobby. It's just absolute chaos. 1,500 children of all ages milling about because they don't have anything to do. They don't have school. There were no schools. No school was arranged for them. No one had the opportunity to consider. The country was overwhelmed by this reality. It was not prepared for it. So you have 1,500 children in this hotel. No plan. So Rabbi El-Harar said, at that moment, even though it was something I never thought I would do, I became a schoolmaster. And he created a school. The school had at one point up 150 children. And we saw it when it had 100 children. 100 children in a school. That because he stepped up because the hour demanded it. But that's suffering. The people that you would think that if you're in a hotel, you're living large. It's not the case. Entire families, 5, 6 people are in one hotel room, regular size hotel rooms. They had whatever clothes they brought with them. Remember, they had basically a suitcase. And now 2 months in, this is how they're living. After a while, it gets really, really hard to live in a hotel. They want to go home. Some families actually tried to go back, but the constant bombardments, it was so traumatic. It awakened such feelings in them, such fear in them, that they returned. It reached a point where one of the hotels said that they created a kitchen specifically for the displaced people because, again, you would think, hey, what's such bad about eating, resort level hotel food for 2 months? But it's not the case. After a while, you just want to cook what you're used to. You want to just have your own place, and they don't. And it is extremely difficult. And the school that we saw, getting back to the school, it was just fascinating. Imagine you want to create a school. How do you even begin to do that? You have to create a space. So you have to rent a space in the hotel. So they rented the wedding hall, which unfortunately right now or the meeting area, which right now is not in use. They rented that and they broke it down into sections. They had to create walls. They had to get the supplies for school. And then you have to get teachers. Where are you going to get teachers from? But they managed. They pulled it together. They took a teacher from here, a teacher from there, and they have a school. But this is the level of activity that is required to be able to prosecute this war. And it's just difficult. And this is not reported. This kind of level of difficulty, at least I don't see it reported in the media, because people don't see these people as suffering, but they certainly are. And it's our job to be thinking about them as well. to consider what they're going through and to try to feel for them and understand for them, and to pray for them to be able to return to their homes safely, without concern, without fear, and Bezrat Hashem to also be able to recover from the trauma that they experienced from what they saw. Some of them were in the kibbutzim that were attacked, and they still have fear. I'll give you an example of that. The first day the rabbi opened the school, in his classroom, he had parents and students. Why would he have parents in the classroom? Because the students would not let go of their parents. They were so afraid. He said to me, literally, they were holding on to the clothes of their parents to not be distanced from them. And then it took a couple days, but the parents could go out into the lobby and the kids would be okay. And then it took a while until the kids didn't need to have the parents in close proximity. And the rabbi told me, he said that one day he came out and the kids were playing soccer. And he looked at it and he said, why is this so touching to me at the moment? And then he realized the children had finally become children again. The trauma had so impacted them that they were in a constant state of fear. And they had finally returned to a sufficient feeling of security that they could engage with one another as children. But unfortunately, the marks of this trauma are still there, and they shared some of it with us. And we need to keep them in mind, all of them. And B'ez Hashem, they all only see the return to their homes in safety, and B'ez Hashem, the full recovery from all of the things that they experienced. And B'ez Hashem, may it all end in the best possible way. Bikarov.